Hello and welcome to this episode of Compensation Insider. Today, I would like to discuss about why there is a price to accessing market data in terms of salaries, and also what you can do in order to convince your management to pay for this data. So, generally speaking, there is data is not free. Okay, there is a large amount of work that has to come into the design phase of a salary survey, like knowing what do you want to look at. Do you include, for example, policies? Do you only look at direct compensation? Do you also look into long-term incentives? Do you look into benefits? Do you look into actual bonus payout or only target bonus payout and so on? So the whole design takes a while. The data collection obviously does take a lot of time as well. You have to organize. Will you organize a data collection via a specific software, via Excel? How will you make sure that people are submitting their information on time and all this kind of stuff? Then you have, of course, situations around quality assurance, ensuring that the data that you've received makes sense. For example, that the bonuses of people who joined during the year have been annualized to be able to be properly compared to those of employees who were there for a longer period of time in the organization. How do you make sure that you have data which is all coming from a certain date, that you don't have people who made mistakes in terms of currencies and all this kind of stuff? Then obviously you need to produce and analyze the data and produce the report and communicate about it. So will you have like an overall presentation for the general participants? Do you produce a report for each participating organization, which excludes their own data and only shows the rest of the market? All this kind of stuff. So of course, gathering data, transforming it into actionable, value-adding information has a price. And I think a lot of times, you have CFOs that are saying, oh, can't you just call somebody and you will know what the market price is? I mean, I've faced that personally a number of times, even when I was in very senior positions. And nobody would even think to question why they would have to pay for marketing data, when launching a new product and so on. But when it comes to comp and ben, sometimes management struggles to pay even $5,000, so that's about 20,000 dirhams for the survey, for a survey which will give you information for all employees in the country. So what are their fears when spending that amount of money? So in order to create the business case to help you get the budget from the CFO and the CEO for paying for this data that you know that you need, you can calculate the cost of that survey compared to a number of things. As a cost compared as a percentage of payroll cost, a cost compared to the annual average salary of your employees, a cost per employee. So let's say 20,000 dirhams and you have 20,000 employees, that's 1 dirham per employee to get the data. You could also look at the cost of employee turnover or the number of days of work that are lost to an increase in, for example, sick leaves because your employees are not motivated because you know that there is maybe a while that you haven't revised your salary ranges and done salary increases and people are starting to be impacted from a motivation and productivity standpoint. So when obviously top management is saying to you that they don't have money to pay, just put that amount in perspective. And I think as well, it's really important that you develop the skills to be able to use that data by yourself. The big survey providers, they do a good job of collecting the information and so on, but they charge an awful lot of money to produce a salary structure for you, which often is going to be mostly based on very standard information like median of the market with a plus or minus, let's say 10, 15, 20%, depending what you want to do for your company. And so those numbers are really not difficult for them to produce. And there is nothing really special of what they're doing to produce that, but they do charge a lot of money for it. So if you learn how to get that in data, analyze it for yourself, being able to identify which are the outliers, why they are outliers. Is it because you have a specific reason? Is it because the data is maybe less reliable, interpreting, based on the number of incumbents, the number of companies that have submitted data for a specific position, whether the data seems right to you or not, making sure that you have properly positioned your own employees in the right grade so that you can compare to the right pay level. All of that, learn to do that and do your own analysis of the information, and you will just have to financially pay for the salary survey, and you'll still be able to produce a lot of value for your organization. And then when you present that 20,000 dirhams as a percentage of annual payroll, who in their right mind would refuse to pay it for your company? So really, you have to learn to present your needs as a business need with a return on investment, and that's one of the good ways to do that. So I hope you will find this little tip useful for you, and good luck for participating in the surveys and analyzing those results. Thank you so much, and see you next week in Compensation Insider.